Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to show you how to make scrunchies. So what you're going to need is some fabric. I have two different types of fabric here. This piece is scrap from some fabric that I had before. It's about 37 inches long and 8 inches wide. The same thing with this one, and this is knit fabric from an old t-shirt of mine. Well, it's not old. I never wore it, so I have that. I have some elastic cut here, which is about 8 inches, and a safety pin, which you're going to need later on, and I'll show you how to use it. But before we get into the video, if you are not subscribed to this channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Also, if you like the video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Make sure you're also following me on Instagram. The link is in the description, and if you'd like to check out any of our other YouTube channels, all of those are linked in the description. So let's get into it. So we have our sewing machine here, and we're going to start off with the knit fabric, and we're just going to feed this through. So as you can see right here, I have 2 pins in the center where I'm going to leave an opening for me to turn this right side out, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I'm done. So I'm not going to sew this part in between the pins. I'm just going to sew a straight stitch along each side. Okay, so here's where our trusty safety pin comes into play, because we need to flip this fabric around. So I'm going to take the safety pin, I'm just going to stick it here, and then we're going to turn this fabric around slowly. So then you take your safety pin and you push through, and as you're pushing the safety pin down, push your fabric through. Now when you get up here, you're going to stop. You're not going to pull it all the way through, and you'll see why. This is just one trick that I do. You can do it a different way, but I am going to also show you another way to do it. So just kind of pull down and like make this even. Okay, so now what you're going to do here is sew this together. You're not going to sew it like this. You're going to put your fingers through here, as you can see the hole, because you want that hole to stay open, so don't close that. But you are going to sew around this. Now if you can do it with your sewing machine, I say great. I can. A lot of people won't know how to get around the edges here with the sewing machine, but because I've been sewing for so long, I know how to do it. Or you can hand stitch it. See, what I do to sew is I lay it flat and make sure that it's open and hold the rest of it back, and that's how you can get around this small hole. So that opening that you left when you were sewing, you're going to just push your fabric through here to turn it right side out. And this should be fairly simple. So this is what it should look like. You have this opening here, and it's kind of like a band right now, and this is where we sewed our bottom pieces together, so you don't have to worry about that right now. So let's go ahead and put our elastic in here. So we need our safety pin again, and I'm using a thinner elastic right now for this. I could have this cut about 7 inches. You're going to need something to hold this down. I'm pretty versatile with holding that when putting it through, so you're going to put it through this opening. So I tend to hold mine with my hands. You can put another safety pin on it or put something on it to weigh it as you're feeding your elastic through. And as you can see, it's scrunching up, which is exactly what we want it to do. And you pull it through. So see, I'm still holding on to this piece. And you just push your fabric around it. And then I'm just going to now, at this point you can hot glue this, but I'm going to use needle and thread to close this. Okay, so now you have this part to close. I'm going to fold mine over so you're not seeing like the frayed edge, and then I'm going to just stitch this. Now you can hand stitch it to try to do an invisible stitch, or you can sew it. Because it's mine, I'm just going to go ahead and sew it. If I were selling these or making it for somebody else, I would do an invisible stitch. So here we have it, scrunchie number 1, and it works perfectly. Now on to scrunchie number 2. Okay, so like I said, we have this fabric here. This is about 37 inches long, about 8 inches wide, and we're going to do the same thing basically, but for this one we are going to close the ends and still leave an opening here in the center. Okay guys, so for this one we're going to do this one a little bit differently. I have some elastic here, same length as the other one, about 7 inches. I'm going to sew this together to make it like a rubber band. So for this one it's going to be a bit tricky, but I'm going to show you how to get through it. So let's get started. Okay, so like I said, this is going to be a bit tricky, and you could do this with hair ties too. Like if you have just regular hair ties, you can use that. So what you're going to do is put this in here like this. You're going to start off by sewing a diagonal here, and then once you do that, you're going to sew all the way around, holding the elastic away. So make sure you are not sewing any part of your elastic once you do this. So again, getting started, you're going to start at a diagonal, back stitch, keeping the scrunchie back, and you'll see how to do it once we really get into it. So you're just going to pull the fabric kind of around the elastic so you're still sewing the edges together. And as you can see, as we go along and we're pulling the fabric to sew, that it's turning into scrunchie. Okay, you guys know me, I gotta cut the extra stitching off, the threads I mean. Okay, so as you can see, this is what it looks like right now. So we're going to have to flip this right side out. Now, this can be very tricky and difficult because I didn't have mine wider. It may take me a little bit more time than it would if I made the scrunchie fabric wider or used a knit like we did for the first one. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this all the way out, and then we'll do the final step. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm going to flip this inside of itself. And then I'm going to push the frayed end over here inside of this. Okay, so at this point, this is what it should look like. And you're just going to sew that. And yes, this is sewing into the elastic, but that's okay. But here we are, guys, our scrunchies made in 2 different ways. It's made with a fabric that you want to use for yourself. I hope you really like this video, guys. I will be showing you other things that I never really showed on this channel before, but I thought this was cute, and the scrunchie trend is back in apparently from what my daughter's saying, so these are perfect. I've always had scrunchies. Even when I was younger, I used scrunchies, so I don't think they ever really went out of style, but you can make them your own style. One tip, of course, when you're making your own, you kind of want to use matching or some kind of coordinating thread. Find which way is easiest for you to handle and to do your scrunchies. I actually like this one with a thinner elastic because the thicker one is more formed, which is okay, but I tend to like my scrunchies to be a little bit more stretchy. So I hope you like this video, guys. Make sure you help me by sharing them out. Also, if you like this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. Also, if you are not subscribed, make sure you do subscribe and turn on your bell notifications so you're notified every time I upload. If you would like to follow me on Instagram, the link to my Instagram is in the description, as well as the links to my other channels and my daughter's channel. And until next time, guys, bye.